Okay, let us figure out what the limit of this graph as x approaches 2 is. So what we got to do is just find out from both sides as x approaches 2 what the value of y looks like. So just by eyeing it, we're just going to eye it. Just eye it, okay? So as we go from the positive to, we go from this direction, from the right, we start getting down, we start getting closer and closer, and we don't actually hit it. It looks like we start approaching 2. Looks like we start looking at 2, okay? And as we go from the left, we start approaching it, and it looks like we're getting closer and closer to 2. Now, at this point, though, has a circle like this to represent that it's undefined. If we were to plug 2 into this function, we would get an undefined value. We wouldn't get 2, we would get an undefined value. But as we were approaching 2, it appears that the limit for this function as x approaches 2 is equal to 2. Now, what if I defined the point at this function at 2 to be 1? I say when x is equal to 2, then this function is defined for 1. And then I would ask you to find the limit. Well, if we look at this, we look at it from the right, and we still get 2, and we look at it from the left, and we still look at, and it seems to be approaching 2. Even though it's defined for this right here, it doesn't matter. The limit is still going to remain at 2. Okay? It's still going to remain at 2. Then, if I were to say, okay, well, let us define it at 2. We do say that it is defined at 2. Then what is the limit now? Well, we look at it from the right, and it still seems to be approaching 2, and then we look at it from the left, and it still seems to be approaching 2. So the limit still remains 2. And the point here is to say that the limit does not rely on the function at that point being defined or undefined. The limit is still going to be the limit. It doesn't have to be the actual point for which that is defined. The point for which is defined could be over here, it could be over here, it could be over here. That doesn't stop the limit for that point to still being 2. So yeah, stay in school.